Hello, good morning, students. Welcome to online class of English. I am Rahul Pandey, and today I will teach you first chapter, The Portrait of a Lady, written by Khushwant Singh of class 11th Hornbill book. So, dear students, in this chapter, The Portrait of a Lady, Khushwant Singh has given an account of his grandmother and he drawn a life-like portrait. She was very old and her face was wrinkled. The hair of her grandmother was white, and it was hard to believe that once she had been young and pretty. His grandfather's picture hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room, and he wore a big turban. His clothes were loose, and he looked at least 100 years old. And it was hard to believe that he had once a wife or children. So the author explained that means right now her grandmother is very old, but when she she will be young at that time she used to appear very beautiful, but right now the author tells us that when seeing the present condition of her grandmother, no one will believe that means once upon a time she will be so beautiful. And after that, Khushwant Singh's grandmother was a short lady, and she was fat and slightly bent, and she could not walk straight. She hobbled about the house, and she had to keep one hand on her vest. It was to balance her stoop, and in the other she held a rosary. She was always telling the beads, and her lips constantly moved in prayer. And she put on white cloths, her silver locks scattered over her face, and she looked like snowy mountains in winter. She was a picture of peace and contentment, according to the author Khushwant Singh. And he also told us that she was very old. Perhaps she could not have looked older. She looked the same for the last 20 years. That is why it was a matter of surprise for all of us. And Khushwant Singh and his grandmother were good friends. His parents went to city, and they left with her in the village. Means Khushwant Singh used to live with her grandmother, and she took good care of him. She used to wake him up in the morning, and she got him ready for the school. And she said her morning prayers in sing song manner. So it is a very good quality of her grandmother, and she hoped that he would learn it by heart. And he liked her voice but never bothered to learn it. Then she would fetch his wooden slate, and after that she had already washed it and also plastered it with yellow chalk. And she would take an earthen ink pot and a reed pen, and she would tie them in a bundle and hand it to him. She would given him a thick steel chapati with little butter and sugar spread on it, and it was his breakfast. She carried several steel chapatis with her for the village dogs. So after that, and the author's grandmother means his grandmother always went to school with him. The school was attached to the temple, and the priest taught children the alphabet and the morning prayer. The children sat in two rose in the veranda and they would sing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. On the other hand, the grandmother sat inside the temple and she would read holy books. Then they would walk home together, and the village dogs would gather at the temple door. They threw chapatis to them. The dogs would growl and fight with each other. And after that, the narrator's parents sent for them in the city. It was a turning point in their friendship. They shared the same room, but grandmother no longer went to school with him. The narrator used to go to an school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets. So grandmother took to feeding the sparrows. After that, years rolled by. They saw less of each other. Sometimes she would ask him what the teacher had taught him, and she did not believe in the things they taught at the English school. She was unhappy. She did not like English or science, and the grandmother felt sad that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures at school. The narrator one day told her that they were being given music lessons and she was disturbed. She thought music quite incident, means indecent. For her, it was good only for prostitutes and beggars. It was not meant for gentle folk. And after that, the narrator went to the university and he was given a room of his own. The common link of friendship was broken. The grandmother accepted her loneliness quietly. She was always busy with her spinning wheel and reciting prayers. She rarely means talk to anyone. And in the afternoon, she relaxed for a while and then she would feed the sparrows. She sat in the veranda and she broke the bread into the little bits. Then she would throw them to sparrows, and after that means hundred of sparrows came there and they created a hell of noise. Some came and sat on her legs, and other sparrows would sit on her shoulders. Some would sit even on her head. The author said that means she smiled but never frightened them away. And feeding the sparrows was the happiest half hour of the day for her. The narrator decided to go abroad after that. And after that, why he went abroad for higher studies means he was to remain away for 5 years. The grandmother was very old and she could die any moment, the author thought. The narrator was very worried, but the grandmother was not upset. She showed no emotion and she came to the railway station to see him off. Her lips moved in prayer and her mind was lost in prayer. And the grandmother's fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. After that, she kissed the narrator's forehead silently, and the narrator thought that it was the last sign of physical contact between them. But no, the narrator returned home after 5 years. His grandmother met him at the station. She did not look a day older. It was very miracle, and she did not speak anything. She held him in her arms. After that, she went on reciting her prayers. In the afternoon, she fed the sparrows as